Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tim and this is Tim the Trailman, and today I've got a great video for you. Today we're going to be putting a slimline bumper on my 5th gen 4Runner, and I believe mine's going to be different on the how-to step-by-step for a couple of reasons, so let's get into it. Okay, the first reason why I think my video is going to be different than some of the other videos is Roxanne's sitting on a 1-inch Toy Tech body lift, so that's going to make a difference on where the slimline bumper mounts from the frame and clearances the bumper. And I'm going to show you the bumper I got here in a minute. Second reason why I believe the video is going to be a little bit different, I'm going to have a little extra couple steps in here. One of them is going to be these Diodynamic SS5s. Currently they're being held up by a Rago Fab mount that goes from the aluminum crash bar that's behind the bumper cover mounted to a crossbar, and that aluminum crash bar has to go away in order to fit the slimline bumper. It will not adapt to the slimline bumper. I have another idea on how to keep my SS5 Diodynamic lights in place. That's going to take some creativity on how to accomplish that, keeping them there with the winch. The third thing that I think is going to be a little bit different is, in order to keep the Diodynamic lights and run a winch with the slimline bumper, I'm going to have to go ahead and do a relocation kit on the winch, and I'll show you which winch we're running here in a second, which means the top half of the winch where the controls are needs to be moved somewhere up top under the hood instead of staying in place here at the slimline bumper location. There's going to be some benefits to that too, so let's get into it. I'll show you what we've got, what I'm going to be installing, and then we'll walk through step by step on how to get it done. Okay, so the items that we're going to be installing on Roxanne today is a Cali slimline bumper. Just got this in the mail the other day. Super excited about that. It came powder coated, built, ready to rock and roll with all their hardware. I'm excited to see how it fits up to the 4Runner. I personally don't know that many people running a Cali bumper. There's other ones, C4, and the list goes on. Other than TRD John, I'm the only one that I know that has a Cali bumper. I'm sure there's thousands others. Within the bumper, we'll go a 30-inch Baja Design S8 light bar. So we'll mount that and wire that up. That'll give me great amber down low for fog and dusty driving conditions. And then the winch that I mentioned is a Warn Xenon 10S. So it's the middle of the line. It's not their Evo, it's not their Xenon Platinum. It's a great winch. It has the Spydura rope on it, and it's rated for 10,000 pounds, so that will fit within the Cali raise. I'm told that it'll bolt right up. So we'll bolt it up, we'll wire it up, and then we'll set the preload on the rope as well. Wait, before we go any further, we need to answer an important question. Tim, after you add all that weight to the front bumper, how bad is it gonna make the front sag? Let me answer those questions. Okay, so for the Cali raised bumper, naked, the way it comes from Cali raised, it weighs 77 pounds per their website. That's roughly 35 pounds more than the factory setup. The Warn Xenon 10S winch, per the Google internet, it wasn't on their website, but I Googled it, someone answered it, it says it weighs 75 pounds. The Baja Design S8 light bar, that weighs 6.5 pounds per Baja Design's website. You add all that up, that's about 158 pounds total for the weight. If you just do the 35 pounds more than the factory weight, plus the 75 pounds, that's 110, plus the 6.5, so 116.5 pounds more than the way it's set up. So let's measure the height of the 4Runner the way it sits here on the passenger side. It won't get moved during installation, so we'll be able to measure the same spot from the ground to the fender. Okay, so from the ground straight through the center of the hub to the bottom of the fender, it measures 39 inches, so we'll add all that weight and we'll see if she droops at all. The important thing for this 4Runner, I'm running the Fox 2.5 DSC remote reservoirs. They come factory with a 600-pound spring from Fox, so yours may sag more, it may sag less, but that's the way Fox has it set up. We'll see how far it droops, and I'm already researching heavier springs because I anticipate it's gonna go down. So the first thing you gotta do is remove that plastic tray. And then for me, I have to remove the Onyx 6s to be able to get the bumper cover off. So we'll take the bumper cover off now. Remember to unplug your fog lights on each side, but this is pretty standard on how to get the bumper off. There's other videos as well, but it is just clips there, couple screws, and then on the bottom by the skid plate, couple screws. So we'll have that off here in a second, but a minute longer because the Onyx 6s.
She come back. FYI, we didn't go in that.
You got some mud in here, Tim.
No, I'm working on it.
She's on the HOA.
This one's not ready to go here. I got it. I think it's set in the grass.
That reminds me of the movie Predator. That one ugly motherfucker.
Okay, so with the bumper cover off, here is where the Rago fab mounts up with some uprights and then a crossbar. You could use a light bar to connect those two if you wanted to, but with pods, you buy this crossbar right here. So I'm gonna reuse the crossbar. We're gonna get rid of these uprights, and you can see where they bolt. There's not a spot on the slimline bumper. So I've got some SDHQ pieces that should bolt right here. And then my goal is to mount this piece to the SDHQ mounts and keep the diodynamic lights. So that'll be up next, and we'll be throwing away that aluminum crash bar. All right, so mine has a steel plate because of the body lift, so it sits up 1 inch higher, and you can see the body lift right there. So then this area is now removed. The crash bar is gone. We're gonna figure out how to install the SDHQ right here really quickly, and then remount those. So then when we put the bumper up, we'll be able to see if the winch controller needs to be relocated or not. But the bumper will bolt up there and there. SS5 diodynamics, 30-inch light bar, Onyx 6s, and I should be able to see where I'm going.
Yep, just gonna say get ready to get rinsed.
All right, so this is the SDHQ mounts here. They bolt up to the side of the core support, and then you lose your plastic fairing, which will help me with radiator breathing. And then the diodynamics will bolt up to that crossbar. So from that side to that side, we reused the L brackets, so you don't need the uprights anymore, but they just levitate there. We've already test fit them with the bumper cover on it. So now we'll put the bumper, the winch, wire everything up, be done here shortly. Okay, so the evening was getting late. My friends needed to go, so we stepped up the process and the movement, and what we did is got everything on and finished the bumper, the winch, the light bar, the diodynamic lights. Let me show you behind here. So you might have to figure this out on your own, but this is the controller to the winch. And because the diodynamic lights sit right there beside the TSS, the controller was too tall. It would have hit that railing that I was just showing you that's down there. And so I'm in the process of putting the I'm in the process of putting the Baja Design Onyx 6s back up here to finish blocking off my radiator. And then the wiring is getting better. I don't know if you can see down there. Let me see if I can turn up the lights. So there's the flash on the phone. So this time I'm putting in the braided covering over the wires, making it look nicer. Gonna run it that direction. I've got the winch connected up here. I went ahead and just free spooled it right now in so it's not wound real nicely. The 30-inch S8 is connected, but this part back here, we had to relocate the horns. The TSS still bolts up. The controller, this is a relocation kit sold by Warren. It has 31 inches of wire. Let me show you that here. There's the 3 wires that run down from the winch to the controller. So we had to get creative with that. We were going to put it over here, but that was going to mess up the washer fill and everything like that. But got room from the side, from the Viper cuts, so I'll be able to work on things from the side. And then I will be able to reach through here and activate the clutch, or I can still reach my hand down through here if I leave the black cover off that goes through here. So it all wrapped up pretty quickly. I needed to stay focused and get it done while my friends were able to stay over. But first looks, it looks pretty clean, and I'm gonna tell you more about the experience and everything like that. But let me go ahead and finish getting the Onyx 6s hooked up here, and then we'll talk about the entire project as a whole. Okay, so before I measure the front end, let me go over a couple of things. Like I just mentioned, the idea of getting it all done in one day and the 4Runner not moving didn't happen. I actually finished it up late one evening on the bumper side, and then the next night I actually had to finish the lighting, which you just saw. So now, it's been a couple weeks actually. I've been wheeling off-road. Didn't need to use the winch or anything, so that's great news, but it has given time for the suspension to settle. So that is gonna be helping figure out how much the weight actually does change the front suspension, and what the droop is. So we'll measure that in a second. Let me go over a couple of nuances of the Cali raised bumper that I wasn't completely aware of. One of them I did know, one of them I didn't know. So first off, I did know that the light bar opening was for a dual row LED light bar. So Cali raised makes something that's a dual row LED. I already own the S8 in amber and I wanted to run that. So you can see here that the idea of the gap around it, I kind of don't mind it. I thought it would look worse, but it does look okay. And it does not impact the lighting because the wheeling that I did was at night and I used the light bar and it worked out just fine. So it's pretty cool that it fits. It just has a little bit of gapping versus a double row LED, it would fit flush in there. The second thing, which is the one thing that I did not know about or was aware of, is I've got the synthetic rope winch, which means it has a synthetic fair lead. With the Cali raised bumper, the opening is set for a fair lead, but if it was a cable roller or a cable winch, it probably would not have worked with the opening, which I don't know if was disclosed on the website or not. But the fair lead from Warren, I had to actually cut off the top half, as you can see here, which took me a little while because I don't have great cutting tools here at the house, but it was also upsetting that I had to cut my brand new fair lead. It's not going to impact the function of the fair lead or the winch or the rope or any recoveries or strength of the bumper, but it was disappointing. Warren and other people make a oval fair lead, but getting it all done in one day as best as possible, I needed to cut this to make it work because once you put the winch back there, there's no way to bolt the fair lead up on this bumper without undoing everything. So needless to say, I had to cut the fair lead and I wasn't super happy about it, but it is what it is. I've got it done and it doesn't really matter going down the road. No one's ever going to see it and it doesn't affect the functionality of the bumper and winch. And then the last thing that I've noticed and I've known for a little while is that my TRD Pro skid plate is bent. It wasn't as noticeable as it is now. You can see here that it is curved. We did beat on it a little bit with a hammer trying to straighten it out, but it is hitting the bumper on the driver's side and it's actually hitting the core support a little bit now. I don't know if it was before or after we started beating on it. So I do need to take it off and try to straighten it out a little bit. Through driving it for a couple weeks, it is not making any sounds or noises. So it'll probably be a while before I get around to it. But the skid plate with the bumper, it is hitting it at the moment. Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your support. It means a lot to me and the channel. And if you'd like to be a patron too, please head on over to patreon.com/Tim the Trailman. Okay, time for the measurement and let's see what happened to the front end. Put your guesses in the comments below before I reveal what the number is. So let's measure. The 4Runner is in a different spot, but the idea of it being almost on flat ground in the driveway, the vehicle is empty, it should come out to be a good measurement. Okay, on this side, it is measuring just below 38 inches. And so before it was at 39 inches. It looks like with bumper, winch, light bar, a couple weeks of driving, the settling with the 600-pound springs, it is coming in at about a 1-inch droop. The 4Runner as a whole does not look like it has any rake to it, so that's great. I'm going to look into maybe some heavier springs, maybe a 650 or 700. If you have any experience in that, please let me know in the comments below as well, as I am shopping for springs to fix that without adding preload to the coilovers. Thank you for hanging around and watching the video to the end. I'm super excited about having the bumper and winch. It will help me out going overlanding or off-roading with self-recovery and helping friends on the ride as well. If you'd like to see more content like this, hit the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and as always, thank you for watching.
What about?
We already had a problem.